Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and it is another brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? And joining me today, and I feel like some of y'all are going to be hating, some of y'all might be mad because I keep on interviewing a bunch of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure cosplayers, but y'all know me already, and that is Sanguiine Cos. Sanguiine, how are you doing today?
Pretty good morning. So everything's awesome so far.
Hey, it is an awesome day, and it is a good morning. It's a little hot here in Virginia, but it's not too hot. It's about like 84 degrees here. What's the temperature like where you are right now?
Oh, I'm in Texas, so you can believe it's hot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here acting like my weather is hot, but no, I know how it is in Texas, man.
I know Virginia gets pretty hot too. I've been to Virginia, so you're allowed to complain.
Hey, well, look, next time you come to Virginia, now you can hang out with your boy Benjamin Banks, and we can go out and get some ramen together.
Exactly. Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. So before we get into today's interview, everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And as D always says, podcast link down below in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into this interview. And first off, Sanguiine, I just want to say that I love your cosplay. It looks so awesome. And one of the things that I loved when I was putting the slideshow together was how authentic your costumes are for what you do with your JoJo cosplays and whatnot. It's like, I love that you put your own twist to it. It's like, it's cosplay. It's like, I know who you're cosplaying, but it's just like you're putting your own style on it. And I love that about all of the cosplays that you've done.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I like to kind of mess around with the characters, kind of give my own interpretation of what I think they'd wear, what I like to wear as well. It makes it a lot more fun when I get to add like my own special flair to it.
Exactly. And I really love that. So, the first question that I want to ask you, and this is the first question I ask every guest on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, is what is your origin story? Like, tell everybody who you are. Every hero or villain has one.
Ooh, good. I like that question. I've been into cosplay for, I think in September, it'll be about 10 years now.
Wow.
I started in 2012. I made some friends and they kind of introduced me to this idea of like dressing up as characters that you like and then going to conventions and meeting people similar. And it kind of just changed my whole worldview. I started out cosplaying in Utah. I've lived into like a bunch of different places. So it's like kind of cool to see all the different scenes of like cosplay in every state. I took a bit of a break, and then around like 2017, I started cosplaying again in Texas. And after that, like that time, I like got really into learning how to do makeup real well and styling wigs. I just started learning how to sew this year and making my own cosplays now from scratch. It's so much fun. So I've been, ever since 2017, I've tried to keep cosplaying and going to conventions. I've been to a lot in Texas. I've started to going to more out-of-state cons. I did some in New York. I went to KatsuCon a couple times. I kind of just got to like experience all these different venues that get to host these like cool ass events, and I got to meet all these amazing people, and my love for cosplay has just grown so much, and it's something that I definitely want to keep continuing to do throughout the years. I definitely love making all these different parts of my cosplays. I love adding my art, and I love adding my style and everything to it. Cosplay has just become such like a large part of me, and I'm not even like, I don't regret it. It's like one of the best things I've ever learned how to do.
Yeah, I love that origin story, man. It's just so awesome. And one thing I want to say is, for as long as you've been cosplaying, like that's as long as I've been wrestling. I just celebrated my 10-year anniversary being a professional wrestler back in June. So it's awesome when there are things that we love doing, and even though you took a little break from it, it's just like you never lost your love for cosplaying. And to see from where you started from and to see where you are now, and just leveling up, getting all of those experience points, and now you know how to sew and whatnot, and it's just an awesome thing, man. And I give you a pinky for that, because I mean, like, just to piggyback off of what you were saying, I mean, like, your cosplays, they're so amazing. And it's something different that I really don't see a lot when it comes to cosplay. And that's what I love about cosplay, because it's like you can make your own interpretations of what you want to do for a character that you want to be. And, you know, of course, like some of the costumes that you've done, it's like they do look like the characters that you're cosplaying as, like their original design or outfit. But then it's like one of my favorite ones that I saw you did, the Caesar Zeppeli, because Caesar, he's my favorite character from part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I was like, yo, like I like the windbreaker jacket. Like it was just, it's so different and unique. And you know, I'm sitting here fangirling right now. Because I love it. I love it, man. I really do. So, you know, I want to ask you now, you said that you started in 2012 and now we're in 2022. Like, what are some of your favorite things that you've seen over the years as you journeyed in the world of cosplaying?
Oh man.
Like the changes and whatnot. Like, what are some of your favorite things that you've seen?
Yeah, no, I love seeing how different fashion trends and makeup trends will get incorporated into the cosplay world. I think it's really cool when people try to break the barriers, and I keep seeing and meeting new people that like keep surprising me to this day about like, wow, I would have never taken that path with cosplay like how you have. I wouldn't have decided to do all these like different fabric choices or a different kind of hairstyle or like your makeup. It's awesome to see people still wanting to seek something new and different in what they're creating. And it definitely gives me a lot of motivation. Definitely also the promotion, I guess you would call it, like of cosplay. When I started, I didn't even think about posting my cosplays on like a social media app to get likes or views from people. I would kind of just cosplaying to meet people at cons, and that would make like Facebook friends. And now it's like, I don't even use Facebook. I use Instagram for most of my stuff. And that's how I've like met all these different people and like seen events and learn about stuff, because I'm on Instagram mainly, and that's where I post all of my content mainly, besides that in TikTok, which is like another crazy thing to like change cosplay forever. It gives people more of an opportunity to meet other cosplayers without having to spend the money to go to a convention and to travel, because not everyone can do that.
Exactly.
I think honestly, like it benefits cosplay a lot to see how like social media has changed. It's kind of trying to change for people who want to promote their art and their craft. I really appreciate apps like that, who it just makes it so much easier to create content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. Now, I want to ask you, because you've been cosplaying for so long, like share a story with everybody where it's just like you met somebody, or even if you met them in person or met them online, where it's like you helped inspire them to create something that they wanted to create, or to wear a costume that they felt that they wouldn't look right wearing that cosplay.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I have made like a lot of really good like local Texas con friends. I love cosplaying with them. They're like my favorite people to cosplay with, just because they go like above and beyond. They always try to think outside the box. My friend Fia, for example, their at is Peach Cream Cos, I believe. They do like these crazy builds now. They've done like Shira with armor, and they've done Princess Peach so many times. And it's amazing to see it, because when I first met them, they weren't like, I don't want to insult them. I'm not trying to insult them, but their skills with wigs, for example, they weren't as great as it is now. And I know I definitely helped out with that, because as for friends especially, I love helping and motivating my friends and pushing them to be able to do something they might not be comfortable with. And I love like guiding them as well. So I'll always volunteer when my friends struggle and be like, I will help you style this wig. I will show you how to do it. I will help you sew this project. Now they know how to sew, which I learned sewing from one of my cosplay friends. So I finally like sat down with them to teach me how to sew, teach me what, and help me understand. And now it's great, because I understand enough that I'm able to share my wisdom with other friends now and be like, hey, it's actually not that scary. My friend Fia has in return helped me a lot with certain sewing projects, and they know how to craft a lot of like do builds of props that I can't even think about. Like that's one of my big projects this year. Goals is to get like more comfortable prop building, because that's a scary thing to think about. But I know that having like this mutual support system with my friends and being able to come to them with advice or needing help, it makes it not as scary to think about. Because now it looks like I see how much my friends have grown, and like Fia has grown so much since like the couple years that I've known them already. So it's really awesome, and I love being able to do this with my friends. And
that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, and thank you for giving them that shout out. And of course,
always.
Yeah. Hey, look, hey, your boy is all about shout outs. You know what I'm saying? And you know, one thing I forgot to mention to piggyback off of, because when you said that you were from Utah, I interviewed a cosplayer from Utah, and that is snifferdude.cos. And you can check out her episode. It is up here on Who's That Cosplayer on YouTube. So make sure you check that out, because she's a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure cosplayer as well.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, as JoJo cosplayers, hey, we're drawn, us stand users, we're drawn to each other, you know?
Exactly.
So, you know, now I want to ask you, out of all of the cosplays that you've done over the years, give me your top 3. Which ones are your favorites?
Thank you for top 3, because if you asked me one, I would have been sweating.
I know, hey, sure. I learned my lesson, because I used to just ask for one, and everybody's just like, oh, just one.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think I'm gonna have to add to the top 3. I'm not sure the order, but I've been cosplaying Nadencia a lot from JoJo's Part 5, Golden Wind. He was actually my first JoJo cosplay I ever did, and that was when I was just only doing like finding clothing that I felt like he would wear, that like was inspired by him, and I would just throw it together and do some cool makeup. And my most recent fit I wore, most of the pieces are either thrifted, or I thrifted them and then I altered it myself, or I sewed it completely. I think only the shoes were the one thing I did not change at all about it. And I've been able to incorporate my love for making like candy bead bracelets. I made these giant cuffs for him, and I did like such cool makeup. And I also had my group of friends that we had like this whole, like the squad with basically. And it was like a dream cosplay. I felt like so cool in it. He's definitely somebody I want to continue to do throughout the years, make other fits for, kind of get creative with. Goodness me, another cosplay I really like. I'm gonna throw it back a little weird. I don't know if you roll with it or not, but I used to cosplay a lot of Homestuck. I still do, but not as much as I used to. And a specific one was Solix Captor. He's one of the trolls, so he's one of the more freaky looking ones, but he had like double sets of horns, different colored eyes, like 3D glasses, and I went hard for him. I wore like 2 different sets of fangs in my mouth. I got those mesh contacts with the glasses, did the makeup, and I went to a convention like that. Mind you, I have the worst prescription ever, and those contacts are not like have prescription in it. So I was blind the whole time, but I knew it looked so cool. And like, sure enough, when I look back at pictures, I was like, yeah, I looked really cool. He's definitely a favorite of mine. I want to bring him back sometime this year and kind of just do a new version of him. I always like to go back and update as I grow and change. And one more cosplay. I think my favorite right now, the one I was gonna do if I didn't do this cosplay, is Jolene Cujo. I love Jolene. Oh, she's my favorite Joestar. I will say that with confidence.
Okay.
And knowing like I just recently got a cosplay from a friend who just gave it to me, and now it's like I mean, what? And it's so much fun. I look really good as her. I feel confident enough as her that I want to keep making new outfits. She has so many cool designs in the show from the art that like Araki has drawn, and just like other fan art people have done, that it's just like I have so many possibilities for her, and I'm there. Like, I cannot wait to cosplay her again. But yeah, I think top 3 would have to be Jolene, Cujo, Solix Captor, and then Nadencia Jirga. I think I'm gonna give that to you.
That's awesome. I love that. And you know, I had interviewed Saturn's Jupiter,
I
and
saw that one. Yeah.
she was cosplaying as Jolene, and I was just like, yo,
Good.
it's not too often that I get to interview my daughter, and she was just like, well, how about you go put on your Jotaro hat and everything? I was just like,
Yeah.
are you for real?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that Jolene cosplay, and you know, I want to get more into doing stuff on TikTok like duets and whatnot. And you know, when I see you as my daughter, you know, I'll do a duet with you.
Yeah, exactly. I just saw you follow me on TikTok. So I went ahead and followed you back. So I'll
Thank you.
definitely keep an eye out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, you know, since we're talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure right now, you already said that Jolene is your favorite JoJo. Now I got to ask you, which part is your favorite part?
Who's that cosplayer?
It's Badger.
Ooh, good question. I debated about a while about my favorite part because there's like, they're all so good. It's always so hard to decide. So I would feel like the one I got the most emotionally attached to, the one that made me cry the most, made me have like the most feelings, the one I definitely, I guess is my favorite because I think about it the most, would have to be part 5, Golden Wind. It's so good. Araki really popped off with that story. He had such, his idea of taking food and naming almost all his characters after that, on top of the fact he did like some of the best music references, I'd have to say. So clever. I love all the designs. Everyone looks so unique and really awesome. And I'm always drawn to that part when I want to cosplay because there's just so many different versions and ideas you can go along with. And then the story itself is so different than what we're used to. It's in a whole different continent, a whole different concept. The idea that the story isn't necessarily following this Joestar bloodline because in the end it's Giorno's story and he's not necessarily a Joestar. He's himself. And this is like this found family he finds, and he has this own personal mission that he wants to succeed with. It's such a beautiful story. It hurts me so much. There's episodes whenever I want to rewatch it that I have to skip sometimes because I'm like, I can't do this right now. But
what episode is it that makes you?
Okay,
I have a
spoilers
feeling
for anyone who wants to see part 5 and hasn't yet, but just right before it gets to the second half of the part, when it's the boat scene and they're all getting on, it's always like, it's so beautiful. It always makes me so sad that Fugo doesn't go on the boat. Fugo is like my favorite part 5 character, and I understand his decision. I'm not one of those people that get angry at him, but at the same time I'm like, dude, you would have been fine. You could have gone on the boat and would have been fine. And then just every death scene was just so sad, so heartbreaking to not only see how they died, but just the way everyone reacted. I love how it's so beautiful the way Giorno will incorporate his flowers into the deaths and everything. And it's just kind of a little callback at the end of the anime or the manga, just the part in general. But it's a beautiful story. I love watching those breakdown videos about the parts and like get like the little lore behind it. And from what I've seen, Araki was definitely feeling his emotions during part 5. He was going to make a lot of more tragic decisions that he backed out on because he just felt so upset to put this little family through all this pain. He could have definitely skipped a lot of the pain in it, but it's a tragic, just beautiful story that I can like always go back to, always watch whenever. It's one of the parts that I like to watch whenever I just have nothing really going on. I just want to see something. Whenever I really want to be invested, I'll watch like the whole thing straight through and just like feel it all. I've gone back and read the manga through a bit a couple times because I also love the art style of that. So yeah, part 5 is just, it's so good.
It's so intense. And, you know, I feel like the deaths in part 5 are more meaningful because I mean, like, you know, Part 4 is my favorite, and it's
Part
like
4 is definitely my second favorite, I'll have to say.
it's just like the depths in that. Like, it's just like I feel like they like with Shuigechi when he dies, like it leads to them finding Kira and whatnot. But and then even in part 3 when Avdol and Iggy and Kakyoin's death, like that really meant something to me. But when Avdol died, I was just like, what was the point of bringing him back if he was just gonna die again? And I mean, Iggy's was fine, and then going back to part 2 with Caesar, like
that got me.
That was sad. But the ones in part 5, because it's like you don't see him coming, and especially when it gets towards the end, it's just like you don't see that stuff. But it's just like I agree. Like part 5 is more of a side story than it focuses on the main JoJo bloodline and all that other stuff. But yeah, man, I agree. I'm actually watching the dub right now because of it's on Netflix. I watched the sub when it originally first came out, and I'm one of those type of people, because we interview so many voice actors. It's just like I would love to hear their work on projects. Like we interviewed Sean Chiplock, who voiced Mista on the dub, whose interview you can check out. It is up here on YouTube, or you can listen to the podcast. And we also interviewed Matthew David Rudd, who voiced Leaky Eye Luca, whose interview you can listen to or watch on the podcast up here on YouTube. But now I want to ask you, who is your favorite JoJo villain?
Ooh, JoJo villain. Ooh. I'm gonna have to go with my gut, and also the fact that I have one of his stands like tattooed on my arm right here. I love Kira. I love part 4 is really good because it's a positive arc. It's definitely like more uplifting. It's not as sad. Even the sad stuff doesn't really get to me because, like you mentioned, like it usually leads to good. I also I'm one of those people who love the true crime podcast. I love learning about serial killers. I think it's just like crazy to hear about their stories and why they act the way they do and what they've done. So when I first watched part 4, I was a big fan of Kira just because I was like, oh, he's a really cool character. He's really interesting. I love his stand. The fact that it's a cat is like really funny to me. So good. But then I watched it again after I got really into true crime, and I was like, he's such an interesting character because he really like fits that serial killer stereotype. Like, I don't know if Araki actually did his research or what, but he like got pretty spot on with how like he acts and compared to like real life serial killers, they're really similar. So he's such an interesting, well-written character. I always tell my friends, like, I just want to put him under a microscope and study him. I want to dissect him. I want to see what's like ticking in there because he's so intriguing to me. Like, definitely know he's a creep. And I know, like, I appreciate his true villainy because that's, in the end, he's a villain. Like, I'm not going to skimp over that part, but he's so intriguing to see like how far he will go to keep like his goals of his identity hidden, to keep doing like his killings and everything. He's so interesting. He's funny. Like, he doesn't try to be funny, but he's very funny. He's kind of got that like Patrick Bateman vibe about him going on, like that American Psycho. It's very like, I love when people compare that. 'Cause I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. He's like a weird guy. So I definitely have to say, I think he's my favorite.
Yeah, and then you think it's like he would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids. Because
literally,
go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, it's just spoilers for end of part 4 and all that, but the fact that in the end it wasn't even Josuke, it wasn't even Jotaro, it was none of them who really defeated him. It's the fact he got hit by an ambulance. He just luck. Like, he probably wouldn't have been able to like push a little further, or maybe like kill 1 or 2 more people, like if he really wanted to. But no, he got at the end. He just bad luck. It finally got caught up to him.
He got cocky, and that's like in true villain fashion. He was monologuing. Yeah. He should have never been monologuing. If he would have just did what he needed to do, then he would have got away with it. And
exactly.
I agree with you what you're saying about like him being like a real life serial killer, because it's just like, even though he was a villain, it's just like he wasn't like your villains like Dio or Cars that wanted world domination. Like he just wanted to be left alone. I mean, because Diavolo is the same thing. He just didn't want anybody to know about his daughter. And I think that those two make for really good villains because they're not your traditional I want to take over the world type villains. They just, you know, so you know, I feel like we could talk about JoJo for hours, but
always. I'm always down to talk about JoJo for hours.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's up there. It's top 5 anime. So now I want to ask you, when you're not cosplaying, what are some of your hobbies that you're into?
I do a lot of art outside of cosplay. It kind of goes hand in hand with me, honestly. I got into art, which led me to conventions, which led me to cosplay. And I've had on and off breaks from doing real art. I did it really heavy in high school and I kind of dropped for a minute. Sometimes cosplay will definitely take over more. And I will do more of that than art, which sucks when I go back because I feel like it doesn't look right. What's wrong with me? And it's you have been drawing, you have to keep up with it. It's keep it going. So a lot of days now with my cosplays, I'll even incorporate my art into it and I'll draw on top of my pictures. I'll add stuff with JoJo's. It's really fun because I'll draw stands with my cosplays. It makes it really cool. Takes a lot of work sometimes, but it's worth it in the end. What else do I do? I do love to sew in my free time. I run a mini business with my friend where we make little clothing and accessories and jewelry. It's something we just started wanting to actually try to sell this year. So I've been doing a couple events. I'm going to be selling at a couple conventions in Texas this year, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, it's really cool. I love doing makeup. I love special effects as well. I usually leave that for my cosplay though. I love to bake and cook as well. I'm not I wouldn't say I'm skilled enough to do it on my own, but I can look up a recipe and just go with it and it typically comes out right. I like doing different recipes with food substitutions. I bake for a lot of people who can't have dairy or gluten. So I've gotten really good at making desserts that don't need that stuff. For example, I recently made a dairy-free strawberry cheesecake with gluten-free Oreo crust. Yeah, it was really good. I can confidently say that because I've had several people tell me that it was good. So I'm all right, I believe you. So yeah, I like to still dabble and do a lot of hands-on activities. I always love to be crafting and working and building things. So even if I'm not doing it with cosplay, I'm gonna find a way to do it with something else.
I like that. When you were saying that you like to cook, I was just man, I might start calling you Tonio.
I want to cosplay him. I think it'd be really fun.
You should.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that up on my mind. Yeah.
And then make sure that you got to make the meme come to life where you have a muscular rat underneath the hat, like Ratatouille.
Oh my gosh! Or I get his stand and I put it under the hat, and lift it up, and be that would be really good. Oh my gosh!
Oh my god, man! But no, yeah, this has been fun. This has been a fun interview, and I have one final question for you before we wrap this thing up, because this is the final Who's That Cosplayer before we get into the spooky season, and I can't wrap it up without asking you, what is one of your favorite horror movies of all time?
Ooh, okay, good question. I have not seen a lot of horror movies. I'll be honest. It's a genre I'm allowing myself to get into more. I grew up very scared of blood, of gore, of anything that was suspenseful, and now it's okay, blood and gore is fine. I can deal with it. I can kind of eat it up. A horror movie that I've seen. I have seen a lot of starting to see more of the cult classics. I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street. That one's really good. I like some of the newer horror movies as well, or the new wave that aren't necessarily meant to just be thrillers. I love Jennifer's Body. I feel that could be considered a horror movie. That's very gory, very scary, but it's also a really clever plot and the acting's really good, and I love like the style and the dialogue. I think I'll say that's my favorite movie, Jennifer's Body.
Jennifer's Body. Okay. I mean, it was a good movie. I remember when it first came out, and like you said, it's very gory. Like there's a lot of blood in it. I thought that the cast that they had in the movie was amazing, and just the overall story. So if you guys haven't seen that movie, highly recommend it. I don't know what it's on, but I can look it up real quick. Let me hit the Jeopardy music. Dun, 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 dun.
I know it's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix? Is it?
It's not. No, that's when I first watched it. It's been on so many different platforms.
Wow.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Dang, I didn't. Chris Pratt was in it. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I haven't seen this movie since it came out. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime. So if y'all are watching and y'all want to check it out, it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
so
watch that later then. Amazon Prime.
So Sanguiine, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on Who's That Cosplayer. You are an awesome guest. And before I let you go, you're welcome. Before I let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I had such a great time talking to you. So awesome for like my first interview, basically. So that was a really fun time. Oh my goodness. You can find me on Instagram. I'm Sanguiine Cos, Sanguiine.cos. I have that same handle on TikTok. I try to keep updated. I'm gonna try actually post today some new content in this cosplay. So yeah, those are my main two places you can find me. Feel free to give me a follow. I tend to I'm trying to go to a lot more outside cons out of Texas. So you'll see me around for a while. I'll be in the cosplay community for a minute. So
I love that. Hey, and again, like I said, you got to come to Virginia so that way we can get that
exactly. KatsuCon 2022, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
You're going, I'll see you there.
I didn't go last year because everybody was catching COVID, including myself. So I just stayed away from it. But I'm going this year. And with that being said, y'all know where y'all can find me, your hero Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you again, everybody, for watching this interview. Y'all make sure that y'all go and follow Sanguiine on all of his social media accounts and support him. Make sure that you check out some more content that we have here on our channel. Make sure you check out our podcast. The link is down below in the description, where we have new episodes every Tuesday. And then the video of that interview is up here on YouTube on Friday. With that being said, keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.